Welcome back to Winning Law. I'm attorney David Nguyen with offices in Houston, Texas. At the end of this video, I'm going to share a recent client testimonial from one of our clients that recently attended his interview at the Indianapolis, Indiana Field Office. Now, you may be wondering why we're sharing this testimonial. One, we're sharing this testimonial because we want you to realize that when you hire an immigration attorney, you're not limited by the immigration attorneys that are around you. You can hire an immigration attorney anywhere in the United States. In fact, our office, we have clients all over the United States and all over the world. No matter where you're at, don't limit yourself to unknowledgeable and inexperienced immigration attorneys where you're at. In his testimony, our client is going to discuss his experience at the local field office. He's going to explain that it's not always nice officers that you're going to get. Sometimes you're going to deal with a very difficult or abrasive immigration officers. And if you have an experienced immigration attorney by your side that is knowledgeable about your case, it's going to go a whole lot smoother. One of the most important things about this testimonial is that he's going to describe what an immigration attorney can do at the interview. A good immigration attorney can clarify facts. They can also argue back and forth with the immigration officer, especially when the officer is being overly abrasive or not following or adhering to immigration laws when making a decision. Again, thank you for watching Winning Law. I'm attorney David Nguyen, and we hope that we have made immigration easier to understand.
Yes, I am. My name is Damilola Johnson Okiri. I decided to take part of this interview to be able to help others that have similar situation with me, so they can trust in the power of the lawyer. I filed the I-130 with my wife by herself, and we was denied. They gave us a letter saying it tended to deny that our marriage wasn't legal. And then that was the reason why we decided to hire an attorney for our case. Yeah, we gave them the evidence. We needed a lawyer to actually give them the evidence that our marriage was legal, and they still denied our case. And we had to hire the attorney to help us appeal. And luckily for us, after we hired the attorney to help us, our case was approved. After my case was approved, I came back to Mr. David office because I needed to get my 10-year green card. I needed to apply and make sure I do the right things. After my 2-year green card was up and I had to file my I-75, and I had to file it by myself because me and my wife was divorced at that time, and I was scared to file it by myself. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect, so that's why it was unusual, and I had to hire an attorney to help me figure it out. I was nervous when I heard that an interview was required, and it kind of made me feel like I need to be ready and be prepared for whatever questions they want to ask me. I decided to go with my same lawyer, which is Mr. David, to help me go with the interview, because I actually relocated to Indiana, so I could have hired a local lawyer. It would be much more cheaper for me, but I decided to go with Mr. David. I decided to let him come with me, which was a little bit expensive, but I decided to do that because I was confident in his work ethic. I was confident because he has been helping me He has been helping me since I had my 2-year green card, and I just believe we will be able to get this done together. Mr. David office prepared me so well for the interview. They scheduled a mock interview for me 2 weeks before my actual interview. It was able to give me knowledge of things that I should be expecting, and it was really similar to what happened at the office of the interview. So which means he actually experience with this immigration related situation. They was able to also help me with the documents that was necessary for me to bring with me. He was also able to get access to other documents that I didn't even know about that I have to get, and these documents were actually required when I was doing my actual interview. So which means he was able to prepare me. It was able to prepare me so well to the point that I had all the documents that I needed to prepare myself for the interview. The questions was confusing, although I speak English and I understand English, but our questions was more so general to the point that it was confusing me, and I was replying back to those questions with the wrong answers, to the point where Mr. David was able to see what was going on, and he had to come into the situation and speak for me. Like, I think my client is being confused by your questions, despite that I thought I was understanding what was going on, and I was still yet giving them the wrong response because their questions was just so direct and general, like you have to know what to say. And Mr. David saw that I was having a hard time understanding where she was coming from with most of the questions, despite I understood what she was saying. So he was able to speak for me, like even in the middle of the interview, he was able to tell the lady, like, hey, I think my client is not understanding what you asking him. Maybe there's a different way you can ask the question so that he can understand what you're saying and can give you the right answers. But yeah, thanks that Mr. David was there. That's the importance of having a lawyer, and a good lawyer, and someone that's really can work with you, because Mr. David, his presence was the reason why I was able to solve that situation, because I could have not been able to solve that situation if Mr. David wasn't there. One confusing question that I can remember was when she asked me that what am I doing currently as a job, since I had my green card. So I answered, I thought it was a simple question as what are you doing now since you have your green card? And my current job, I do my current job as a truck driver. So I just told her I'm a truck driver, and she kind of get mad at me because I was supposed to provide all the jobs that I've been doing since I had my green card, but I just went direct and said I'm a truck driver, which wasn't the right answer she was expecting from what she asked me. So yeah, that was an example of what gave me a tough time during my interview, and Mr. David was able to address the situation so she can have a better understanding of my response, and I can also have a better understanding of where she's coming from. Yeah, the attorney actually changed how she was asking me questions when Mr. David was able to speak to my defense. For an example, it wasn't even easy for Mr. David to actually speak up for my defense, and for the whole situation to actually come into play, because when Mr. David was even asking the lady to when he was speaking for me on my defense about the communication situation, things kind of got a little bit heated between Mr. David and the lady, the interviewer. She felt some type of way, like Mr. David was trying to I don't know, but things was heated. It was looking like they was having a little bit misunderstanding, to the point where I was scared, like, I hope this is not gonna create any issue with my case. But funny enough, it did what it was supposed to do to help me fight for my case, and it actually helped on a long run, because the lady was able to understand where he was coming from, so she can give me an understanding of how she communicates with me, for me to be able to give her the right answers. But it wasn't something that was easy, because they had a moment together that they had to exchange some words to the point where before there was an agreement to make the interview much more easier on me. Yes, my case was actually approved that very day. The officer told me part of the reason why it was approved, and one shocking thing that she said, it was to my face, that I should really thank God that I had my attorney with me, that I had Mr. David next to me, that was part of the reason why my case was approved today. Which she also said some other things like, me being honest with my case, and also some other stuff, but she actually made it clear like part of the reason why it was approved was because I had my lawyer with me, which is Mr. David. Since I relocated to Indiana, I do not find it hard to still work with Mr. David, because he responds back to every text, every email, every phone call. Then he also makes sure then the way he work, you can confide in him, you can trust him. So I had no issue working with Mr. David despite I relocated to Indiana. My advice for whoever is filing the type of my case with my experience is to make sure they hire a good lawyer that will help them, fight for them, speak up for them. And I think it's if for any reason they will have to go in for an interview, I will also advise them to have their lawyer sitting next to them for the interview, because things can go really different ways that you're not expecting, and having your attorney, your lawyer next to you will prepare you for that, because these are unforeseen situations that they already have experience with. So my advice for whoever is doing this by themselves is to make sure they have their lawyer helping them with the case. Now that my case are approved, and my future plans is to continue working, growing my business. I just bought my first truck, so I'm trying to own a freight company, and I'm trying to also take care of my family, continue to take care of my family, to have them have the opportunity to be able to come here one day to visit, and be able to travel to anywhere I want to go to as far as business, pleasure. That's my plan for the future, and to take care of my kids and my family.
At David Nguyen's law office, we are here to help you. We bring families together through immigration, and on the other hand, we help you find solutions. All your legal needs in the hands of people who care, who are there for you. We'll take care of your loved ones at the law office of David Nguyen.